Hi friends, in the last episode I was talking to you about the Kerala Amnesty Scheme 2020. For the benefit of those who have missed that session, the details of the link are given in the details. Now this time I am going to talk to you about the Direct Tax Vivad Se Vishwas Act 2020, recently introduced by the Government of India for settlement of disputes under the direct tax. Let me at this juncture make it clear that even though it is referring to direct tax, this is applicable only in respect of income tax. That means it is not applicable for other acts like Wealth Tax Act, Gift Tax Act, taxes on STST, that is Security Transaction Tax, CTT, that is Commodities Transaction Tax, or disputes relating to equalization levy. In the past also the government had come out with similar schemes like Kar Vivad Samadhan Scheme 1998, Direct Tax Dispute Resolution Scheme 2016 to provide for settlement of direct tax arrears. Vivad Se Vishwas scheme is for the settlement of arrears of income tax, as I told you. As the name indicates, this is for dispute settlement. Vivad means dispute, settlement of dispute. Before I go into the heart and soul of the whole matter, let me try and look into the objectives of this enactment. If you would notice, over the years, the number of appeals that are being filed have been accumulating, for the reason that the number of appeals filed were far exceeded the number of appeals which were being disposed of. And because of this, huge amounts of money were getting blocked on this in dispute. If you would take a ballpark estimate, it would be roughly about 5 lakh appeals which are pending disposal as at the end of the calendar year 2019. Please keep this figure 5 lakhs in perspective, because I will be coming back to it in the later part of my talk. And if you look at the amount that is being blocked in these appeals, it is about 9.5 lakh crores. To get a better understanding of this, you have to see what is income tax collection for a year. For the assessment for the year 18-19, financial year 18-19, the total collection that was being made was about 11.34 lakh crores, which means the amount that is being locked up in appeals is almost equal to 1 year's collection. So you understand the magnitude of the amount that is being unnecessarily being held up in litigation. Tax disputes consume a copious amount of time, energy and resources of both the government and assessee. As far as assessee is concerned, he has to break his head, he has to carry on with the litigation to different stages, and then a lot of money and resources are being deployed for that purpose. So if he opts for this scheme, he can take this burden off his head and he can focus on his business. And as far as the government is concerned, the government will be generating timely revenue and there will be smooth flow of money. So it is imperative that it's a win-win situation if the government and the taxpayer opts to go for this tax dispute resolution mechanism. It is with this objective that the bill was introduced on 4th of March 2020 in the Parliament, and after discussions and deliberations it was cleared and passed in the Parliament and cleared by the Cabinet, and after receiving the assent of the President on 17th of March 2020, the Direct Tax Vivad Se Vishwas Act 2020 came into being. The scheme was originally open up to 31st of March 2020. Now with the attack and outbreak of this pandemic, the 31st March has been extended to 30th June 2020. Okay, now let me try and declutter the provisions of the Act. First of all, let us see the people who are eligible for application for this scheme. So it says any person who has filed before the specified date, that is 31/1/2020. So the important date is 31/1/2020. To be eligible for the scheme, you have to have a dispute that is pending as on that date. And where all the dispute has to be pending is as follows. An appeal by or against so that is either you have to have filed an appeal or the department should have filed an appeal against you before a commissioner appeals, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, High Court or Supreme Court, or a writ has been filed before the High Court or Supreme Court, or an SLP has been filed before the Supreme Court. So the appeal should be before any of the appellate authorities, or a writ petition should be pending before the High Court or Supreme Court, or an SLP, special leave petition, should be pending before the Supreme Court. That is one. Two, an objection before a dispute resolution panel and it is pending. Under 144C, you have filed a objection before the dispute resolution panel and it is pending, or the panel has passed a direction and the AO has not passed an order before the specified date. In these two cases also it is applicable. Thirdly, an application for revision under 264 of the Income Tax Act. So as you all know that you can either file an appeal, and in case you have not filed an appeal within the time prescribed, you can approach the Administrative Commissioner by filing a revision under 264. So if that revision is pending also, you are eligible for application. Then a proceeding has been initiated or notice has been given for arbitration, conciliation, mediation under any law for the time being in force, or under an agreement entered into by India with any other country. Suppose if there is any of these arbitration proceedings or conciliation or mediation proceedings pending, in such cases also you are eligible. It also includes a person in whose case the time for filing the appeal has not expired on the specified date, or even in cases where the appeal is dismissed as admitted after 31/3/2020. That means if you have got an order either from an assessing authority, if you have got an order before an assessing authority, say on 15th of January, so you have got time of 30 days for filing the appeal. So in which case, as on 31st of January 2020, the time for filing has not expired. Similarly, if you have got an order from Commissioner Appeals, you have got 60 times to file an appeal. So that 60 days has not lapsed as on 31/1/20. Or after getting an order from ITAT, you have to file an appeal before the High Court. You have got 3 months time. So the 3 months time has not expired before 31/1/2020. In such cases, you can apply for this scheme. Or even in cases where appeal is dismissed as admitted after 31/1/20 on any ground such as lack of jurisdiction, procedural fault, any defects, irregularity or other incompleteness, delay in filing the appeal, etc. Suppose you have filed an appeal before 31/1/20 and after 31/1/20 that appeal has been dismissed for any of the reasons such as lack of jurisdiction, procedural fault, defect in appeal, irregularity or incompleteness. Even then, since your appeal was there as on 31/1/2020 and whether it is to be admitted or not is not decided by the competent authority, you are eligible in such cases also. And lastly, delay in deposit of TDS, TCS appeals, including cases where dispute is only with regard to the interest. So on TDS or TCS matter, if you have filed an appeal, in such cases also you will be eligible for application under the Act. We will see cases not eligible under the Act. Cases where miscellaneous application is pending before the ITAT or application under 154 is pending before the CIT appeal, that is for rectification. Then search cases where disputed tax exceed 5 crore in an assessment year. Suppose if a raid has been conducted and 7-year block assessment has been taken, and suppose after these 7 years, in 3 years, the amount of disputed tax is less than 5 crore, then you can apply for those 3 years, and in those years where it exceeds 5 crore, you cannot apply under this scheme. Cases where prosecution has been instituted in a court or on or before the date of filing the declaration. Here the important catchword is instituted. It has already should have been instituted. However, where only notice for institution of prosecution has been issued without prosecution being instituted, the assessee is eligible to file this application, declaration. Cases pertaining to undisclosed income asset located outside India. Suppose if you have any income which has not been disclosed and it has been brought under the lens of the department, then in such cases you cannot file it because this case has already been started. Cases pertaining to information received from foreign countries under DTAA in such cases, or cases where detention order has been passed or prosecution has been instituted under Money Laundering Act or any such similar acts. Then a proceeding pending before authority of advance ruling, unless it relates to the quantification of tax liability. Suppose you have sought for a clarification before the advance tax authority and the amount is not quantified, and maybe the matter may be that you would have filed an application whether there is any permanent establishment in India, and authority rules there is permanent establishment or there is no permanent establishment. So in such cases also you cannot apply under this scheme. Then writ against notice under 148. You have received a notice under 148 and you have directly moved to High Court. In this case also it is not possible. Waiver application against interest under 234A, 234B or 234C. You have filed an application before the Chief Commissioner and it is pending. That is not a dispute regarding the tax liability. So that is not allowable. Picking and choosing issues with respect to one order, the appellant must choose to settle all the issues. Suppose there are 4 or 5 issues for which he wants certain issues, like suppose if you have an income abroad, that issue is not covered by this. So that issue is also covered in an order, and there are issues which are applicable, for which this scheme is applicable, and there are issues for which this scheme is not applicable. If both come in one single order, then you will not be eligible under this scheme. Now we will look into the amount to which the scheme applies. That is, the appeals are filed on or before 31/1/2000, then in which case this scheme can be used with regard to the disputed tax. Disputed tax means income tax including surcharge and cess. Then disputed interest, then disputed penalty. Here one point you have to notice that even in cases where you have received a demand, you have filed an appeal, and then you decide to buy peace, you decide to pay the entire amount. Still the appeal is pending, you have paid the entire amount. Even if you have paid the entire amount and the appeal is pending, you can go and opt for this scheme. Let us now look into the quantum of relief that is being offered by the scheme. Suppose if you have filed an appeal and you have made the payment before 30th of June, then 100% of the disputed tax will have to be paid. And when dispute relates to disputed tax, in the case of a search, 125% has to be paid instead of 100%, and the interest and penalty will be waived. Suppose if your appeal is relating to interest and penalty, then you will have to pay 25% and only 75% will be available as relief. Suppose if you have not made the payment by 30th of June, then instead of 100%, you have to pay 110% of the tax, and interest and penalty will be waived. And in the case of search cases, instead of 125%, 135% will have to be paid. And suppose in the case of interest and penalty appeal, 30% will have to be paid instead of 25%. Now let us look at cases where the appeal is filed by the department and not by the SSC. That means in the first appeal, suppose if an order has been in your favor, department has taken it further up for second appeal before the AT80, or if you have won the case in AT80, department has taken it to a high court, or from high court to Supreme Court, whatever the case may be, the department has filed the appeal, in which case you want to go for a settlement. In that case, you have to pay 50% of the disputed tax. In case of dispute related to disputed tax, that is in the case of normal cases, and 62.5% in search cases. And if the dispute is regarding interest and penalty, then you will have to pay instead of 25%, 12.5% of disputed penalty. And suppose if the payment is made after 30th June, instead of 50%, you will have to pay 55% of the disputed tax. And in search cases, 67.5%. And in cases or disputes relating to penalty and interest, it shall be 15% of the disputed penalty or interest. Now let us look into what is the procedure to be followed for availing of this scheme. All the forms under this Vivad Se Vishwas scheme have to be furnished electronically on www.incometaxindiaefiling.gov.in. So you have to log in, select the Vivad Se Vishwas tab in the prepare and submit online mode. For TDS and TCS matters, declaration has to be filed through TAN login on the e-filing portal. Filing the declaration is, first declaration form is form number 1 along with an undertaking in form number 2, waiving the rights in relation to the tax arrears. Both the forms are being submitted together on the e-filing portal. The form has to be verified under DSC if the return of income is required to be filed under DSC, and in other cases the declaration has to be verified through EDC. So once you file form 1 and 2, the designated authority, who is a designated authority as defined in the Act, is a person who is not below the rank of a commissioner. So in this case it will be the commissioner who will be, on receiving your form 1 and 2, in 15 days from the date of receipt, then he will issue a certificate in form number 3 electronically determining the amount of tax payable by the declarant as full and final settlement of the tax arrears. So once the form number 3 is received, the declarant has within 15 days pay the amount, and the receipt has to be produced before the designated authority, and the tax paid along with the proof of withdrawal of the appeal has to be filed in form number 4. So what one has to do is, you have to approach the appellate authority, give an undertaking saying that since you have opted for this Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, you are withdrawing the appeal. So that petition can be got endorsed by the office of the appellate authority, and the endorsed copy has to be attached along with the form number 4, and both have to be uploaded, and then it will be reaching the designated authority. On receiving the form number 4, the designated authority will issue a certificate in form number 5, and it will be an order for full and final settlement under section 5(2) and with section 6 of the Act. And it will be certifying the following matters, that is, declarant has paid the amount payable under the Act, the immunity has been granted from prosecution, penalty in respect of the settled tax arrears, no acquiescence, that is, just because you have opted for the scheme, it doesn't mean that you have agreed to it, and this cannot be taken as a precedence by the department for the subsequent assessment years. And the department will not use such declaration as a precedence with respect to same issues relating to the other years. And you cannot also say that in the earlier year you have opted for this. So in the subsequent year, it cannot be assessed in your hands. These are the few points relating to the Act, and now we look into different scenarios under the scheme. Suppose if the enhancement notice has been given by the Commissioner of Appeals before 31/1/2020, that Commissioner of Appeals, while entertaining your appeal and hearing your appeal, he goes through the appeal and finds that the income assessed is not sufficient. He wants to enhance it, and then he gives a notice before 31/1/2020. So how do you calculate the disputed amount and the disputed tax? In such case, disputed tax will be increased by the amount of tax pertaining to the issues for which notice for enhancement has been issued. Then, settlement of two appeals pending. Suppose you have got an assessment order under 143(3) and you have filed an appeal. And you have also got an order under 147 read with 143(3) and another order has been received. So two assessments orders have been received and you have filed appeal for both the orders before 31/1/2020. So you have the option either to settle any one of them or you can settle both of them together under this scheme. If you are going to settle both of them under this scheme, then the disputed tax would be the aggregate amount of disputed tax in both the appeals. Now let us look at a situation where you have paid a portion of the amount demanded. Take for example, suppose you have got an assessment order in which you have to pay 25,000 rupees comprising 15,000 rupees tax and 10,000 rupees interest. So during the pendency of the appeal, let us say you have paid 20,000 rupees. The tax amount due is only 15,000 rupees and you go for opting the scheme. Once you go for opting the scheme, then you get a remission of the interest. So what you have to pay is only 15,000 rupees, and since you have paid 20,000 rupees, the 5,000 rupees you have paid extra will be refunded, but you will not be getting any interest. Further, the penalty leviable shall be waived and the interest leviable under section 220, if any, also will be waived. Now let us look at a case where you have filed an appeal on a covered matter. What is a covered matter? Covered matter means the appellant has already received a decision in his favor from a higher authority. So it should be from a higher authority. Suppose you have received an order for an earlier year from the Commissioner of Appeals and your appeal is pending before the Commissioner of Appeal, then it will not be a covered matter. Similarly, if you have got a favorable order from an ITAT and your present appeal is pending before the ITAT, even then that will not be a covered matter. Now, as per the scheme, if an appeal is filed before Commissioner of Appeals and in the issue you have got a favorable order from ITAT and it is not being reversed by the High Court or the Supreme Court, or you have received an order from the High Court which is not being reversed by the Supreme Court. In such cases, if you have got an earlier order, then regarding the appeal that is pending, you have to pay only 50%. Now, if you have got an order from a Supreme Court, then it is a settled matter. So, in an assessment order, there is an issue for which you have already got an order from the Supreme Court and there are other issues. So, as far as the issue which is pending before the Supreme Court is concerned, it is no more an issue, and then that issue will be taken off and the tax liability will be computed on the other issues pending before the appellate forum, and that will be the basis on which the disputed tax will be computed. But one pertinent point to note here is that normally, as a practitioner and as has been seen, suppose if you have got a favorable order for an earlier year from a higher authority, and then if the department has not taken it appeal to further higher up, then it is to be taken as a settled matter. But in this scheme, what it says that even in such matters, unless there is a decision from the Supreme Court, you will have to pay 50% of the disputed tax if you take it before this, if you opt for this scheme. So if you are very sure that you will be winning the case, then you need not opt for the scheme in such cases. Now let us take a case where you have to calculate a dispute tax where dispute relates to the reduction in the business loss or unabsorbed depreciation. Suppose there is a business loss you have incurred, and the officer, after completing the assessment, has made an addition, and because of the addition you have filed an appeal, so that is a disputed amount. So with regard to that disputed amount, you can either pay the tax under the scheme, then you will get waiver of interest, and then the entire loss which you have carried forward can still be carried forward. That is option number one. Option number two is that you can carry forward only the amount after adjusting for the disputed amount. So in that case, what happens is the amount to be carried forward will get reduced. So the benefit you will get will be for a shorter period, and then after which you will have to pay the tax and interest as and when it arises. Now let us look at a very interesting case where you have filed a declaration for an aggregate amount of disputed tax along with interest and penalty levied on such disputed tax. Whether the penalty not related to disputed tax will be waived. So they have imposed penalty on you with regard to the disputed tax amount and for certain other penalty amount which is not relating to disputed tax amount. In which case what happens is, if the appellant opts to settle the quantum appeal, interest and penalty will be waived upon payment of the disputed tax. Only you have to pay only the disputed tax. For example, interest under 234A, 234B, 220 etc. will be waived, and penalty under 271(1)(c), 270A, 271AAB, 271AAC etc. will be waived. However, the fee such as 234E, 234F or penalty under 271A, 271B, 271D, 272A, 271E, 271D etc. will not be waived, as the same does not relate to the disputed tax, and the appellant should be required to pay 25% or 30% as the case may be on the disputed tax, depending upon when you are paying the amount before 30th of June or after 30th of June. Friends, I will try to explain the provisions as briefly as possible. No doubt, it is a good opportunity for the taxpayers to settle their arrears. But still, one question that lingers in my mind is the scheme very attractive? In the beginning, I was telling you that about 5 lakhs appeals are pending. And if you look at the statistics of those 5 lakhs appeals, you will find that about 70% of the appeals are lying before the first appellate authority, which means the assessee has received an order, he has filed an appeal, and he has not received any relief at all. So will such assessees be interested in going for this scheme? Secondly, after the attack of the pandemic, the whole economy itself has gone for a tailspin, and most of the people are finding it hard to have liquid cash to pay the arrears of tax. So cannot the government think of a better scheme? Can they not revisit it? And as you know, the government is capable. In the case of Sabka Vishwas scheme, the scheme was very attractive, where you got waiver of 50% or 60% of the tax even. Similarly is a new scheme that is being introduced by the government of Kerala under the amnesty scheme 2020. So I hope that the government will consider it seriously to bring a more attractive scheme which will entice the taxpayers. In case you have any doubt, please feel free to comment below. And before I conclude, I hope in case you are finding it useful, please like it, then share it, and then subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.